Welcome to Shop Talks, which is a presentation of the Ink Kitchen. InkKitchen.com is a source of free information online. We have over 200 videos on our YouTube channel, which is up there. Everything from artificial intelligence to how to make a decent screen. We try to focus on experts in the field as opposed to public speakers, and although some are both. And check it out. We're brought here courtesy of Emerald, Her Solutions, Stalls, and Los Angeles Apparel. I'm Rick Roth from the Ink Kitchen, and I have with me here Gavin Kidd from Seps.io and Cole Lundstrom from the Shirt Agency. They're going to talk a little bit about leveraging technology to help your business. Take it away, gentlemen.
Yeah, so my name is Gavin St. George. I'm going to start here. So before I got into the t-shirt business, I ran a major corporation for about a decade, just building teams, helping that company capture a bunch of market share. And one day my wife came to me and was like, hey, I need your help to do onesies for our kid that's coming up. She was pregnant. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. Eventually, she persists. I began to help her out. Then that's how I landed in the t-shirt space. Started to do that about 9 years ago. I do have a degree in management information systems, so I love just playing around with tech tool, leveraging how to marry people, systems, and tools together. That's my angle. It's all about management and tools.
I did not know that Mrs. St. George is the source of all of our luck to have you in the industry. That's pretty interesting.
And the gray hairs that you see.
So I'm Cole Lundstrom. I run a shop called Shirt Agency in Orange County, California. We've been open for 12 years, and we have been using a lot of tech tools to optimize our workflow and not talk to each other. What drives me crazy inside the shop is people checking in and, the art guy hasn't told the screen guy that his screens are or are not ready. So I've been using a lot of automations on the back end so that when things are checked off a list, the entire team is notified in bulk. Also, we do things like AI summaries for all of our invoices so that we don't have our team going through a potentially long, difficult invoice, but the AI is generating individual production cards, and in those production cards, our team is easily managing each print design without necessarily getting sucked into the minutia of the invoice.
So when people hear technology, it's scary. It feels scary, especially if you're just starting your shop. You gotta try to get sales. You gotta build your team, and then you got this whole. You need to leverage it. So what we're gonna talk about here is potentially how you could do that, right? How you could, one, get your mind wrapped around this whole idea, how to leverage it, make yourself it could become really a way that you could become, outcompete your competitor if you do it in the proper way, right? So here's the mindset of using technology. I actually think less is more, right? It's about finding what works for you and your business, because it could get overwhelmed. I'll share with you my mindset and also really a filter that I use to select tools that I use in my business, right? So it's not gonna be perfect, 70, 80%. If you could get 70% out of a tool, you are doing, it's working, right? You're not gonna find a perfect tool that's gonna do everything for you.
I think that's good to know, because I think a lot of people think they've failed when they have a tool that doesn't work for every last thing.
Yeah, because most tools, they are created by humans, and humans are just not perfect. That's just who we are. So let's talk about different tools that you can use in a shop, right? So here's a framework that I kind of use. There's really 4 categories of technology tools, or a filter that you can use. There's one, I would say, collaboration tools. You really just need one set of collaboration tool, which is how do I bring my team together and almost use that as a way to build my culture, right? So collaboration tool could literally be a group text message if you want to go as simple as that. Like, how do I get my whole team in one way or one platform? What we use now is Slack in our business. It's a major, it's a way that so I run a remote business, and right now we have close to 40 people in our company where everybody is there. That's how I create the culture. That's where they get all of the updates. That's where that's our meeting place. That's our home, right? So that's a collaboration tool. So in your business, always think about, how do I connect people together? I know you could just reach and talk to the people, but having a tool that could facilitate that really help you scale communication and also scale your culture faster.
And I think with Slack, you also then have a record to go back to as well, right? So it's not just lost in the ether, right?
Yeah.
What are some other ones besides Slack? I know Monday is one. What are some of the other ones that
Microsoft Teams is included in like the Office suite, so a lot of people are already paying for it without having to pay for additional seats. The thing that you can do with all of them, though, is have them be connected through an API, allowing you to send automatic notifications. So in our shop, when something like a job is ready to be shipped out, the printer will select that the job is completed, and there will automatically be a notification to the shipping department saying this invoice is now ready to be shipped out, eliminating the actual message being sent. Like, my printer doesn't have to actually tell the girl to do it. It's being done automatically, and Slack is amazing at integrating those notification features. And you're able to do that very simply through something like Zapier, where you're just connecting something like a Slack to something like a Printavo order management system, and it's firing off automatically.
So we talked about, so the first category was collaboration tool. Another category of tools, so again, this is the filter that you can use, is a relationship management with your customer, right? Think of like, how do I keep the relationship with my customer? How do I communicate with them in a clean way, right? So right now, there's a lot of industry created tools that you could just leverage. For example, you could use a Printavo or a Shopbox or YouPrint. These tools they allow you to communicate with your customer in the easiest way. Plus, they combine that with project management and the back end, right? So if you are just starting out, you should be thinking about, okay, how do I like just build like a clean way to just talk to my customer, right? So just relationship management, and then a project management. So Printavo, for example, is both of those all in one, right? You could talk to your customer, you could manage your projects, you could do tasks and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be Printavo. There's a lot of like tools out that you could build, like for example, Monday.com, you could customize it. Notion, you could customize those.
HubSpot is actually a really good CRM, and then I've seen people build out order flows on the back end of HubSpot, besides the fact that they have the front end for the sales team. And that works really well, and it will also have additional follow-ups for you to do things like always ask for a review, which a lot of people forget to do in small businesses.
that was worth the price of admission?
And I would say the next category is really like, this is the area where a lot of us spend a lot of time. I remember I spent a lot of time here just finding what is the proper technology stack to just do marketing. Because that's one of the biggest pieces in our business, that we're going to always have to get the word out. Always have to be communicating with the marketplace. But how do you do it in a way where it's not overwhelming? What I found to work good for me is like find one tool that could do a bunch of things all at once. For example, a tool like Hootsuite, where you could connect all your social into one platform, and you could post one post and it goes out to a bunch of platforms. So tools like that are amazing. Like HubSpot that he was saying, HubSpot is a bunch of stuff all in one. It's a sales CRM, it's a marketing CRM, it's service, it's your contacts. So tools that are all in one, but that's been proven, That's a great way to kind of not have to have a bunch of subscription, pay, like, you set it and your credit card's getting hit all the time. So really limiting your tech tools to like, so for me, for example, right now, even though I'm running a completely remote team and a completely technology company, I have my tech stacks of about 10 tools that I use, and that's literally it, right? And I could share those with you guys if you want to.
Yeah, I think I might be under 10. I have a ultra wide monitor, which is how I work, and I just like having windows open and never closing tabs. So I'll have in the corner Slack notifications. I'll have Outlook. I'll normally have like a Chat GPT, tiny square. But then for the most part, the only other thing I need on a daily workflow basis is the Trello and the Printavo. Because everything is going into Printavo automated through something like my web form that's on my website. That's being auto-filled into Printavo or any other order management software. And then we're just double-checking that what's been auto-filled isn't crazy before we send the quote. Then once that's created, it goes into our Trello, which we use basically like our calendar system. And that also has been created to be automated. So as people move cards, everyone on the team is notified and updated about the availability of the artwork, availability of the blanks, or if there's any sorts of issues, they can see it at a glance in only one app on their phone, as opposed to digging through the order management software on like a browser, and even worse, digging through old emails, wondering why something hasn't happened. So for me, I always want the individual employee to have the least amount of things to look at to get their answers. Because if they're all of a sudden like logging into SNS Activewear and trying to find a box tracking number, something's gone wrong. All that information should be in one place, and that's fairly easy to do now that the AIs can read your information, summarize it, and put it into a single card.
Let me go over some of the tools that I use, just the name of the tools, just so you could put these in your mind, potentially play around with them, see how they could you could leverage those in your business. We mentioned Slack. Slack is a powerful tool that we use, especially if you're going to start growing a team. You want to potentially look into that. There are alternatives to most of the tools that I'm talking about. Slack you could use Microsoft Team and different.
Yeah, and Monday, right, is another one.
Monday, right?
One thing about Slack, I'll just ask, you got to get buy-in on that one. I know I've been in a bunch of organizations where they're going to use Slack, and when you don't get absolute buy-in from everyone, it doesn't work at all. It's terrible.
Yeah.
We have a no texting rule at our shop, so you can't text me a question. The response will be, tell me on Slack, and literally copy paste it. So new employees cannot text me, and actually customers don't necessarily have to have your personal phone either. There's systems that allow the business phone to be forwarded directly to your phones, but it's awful when a customer is personally contacting your printer at 7 p.m. You don't want any of that. You want it pulled away and be business-owned software.
What's
Actually, that was a huge savings for us and a great thing because everybody's walking around. We never made wireless phones work very well. And we have I forget what it is, it's a Verizon tool where One Talk, it's called, comes into whatever cell phones are turned on, and you can transfer it anywhere, transfer it remotely, etc. That's a good tech tool as well.
Yeah, we use Mighty Call. Mighty Call has photo messaging to customers. You have everyone in the chain capable of seeing anyone else's previous messages. So if something's going wrong, I can at a glance, either in the browser or on my phone, see what stupid thing my staff said. And I can know everything without having to ask anyone. And then I also can receive phone calls from anywhere on my cell phone, and same with my team. They don't necessarily have to be waiting for an office line. And we can see each other's actual recorded conversations in transcript form. So if somebody talked to a customer for 2 minutes, I don't actually have to ask them what happened. I can read the transcript really quickly and see like, oh, it looks like they have this problem. And it's an amazing time saver because once again, like talking to each other is a waste of time in most situations.
I think I'm part of a radio station now. My business, we use Emitter, EMITRR, and that also has ways to auto respond, and you have the whole thread of everybody's text, even when it's 200 people.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you think about it, a lot of business, what you're doing is organizing information, taking an information here, either analyzing it, filtering it, making a decision, right? That information becomes an order. That information could become some type of training or whatever, right? One of the tools that I found that we use heavy in our business is called Notion, right? So Notion is a knowledge base, or it's pretty much the brain of our business. I just dump everything in there. It allows you to create documents, tables, checklists. So I write a lot of our systems and processes inside of Notion. It gives me a link, and then I'm able to use that link as part of my training with my people. So whenever I'm onboarding somebody or there's a policy or something, it's there, right? It just allows, and you could also give different access to different people. So it allows you to secure some information maybe for your managers, and some maybe for just owners, and some for your other employees. So Notion is a powerful tool, but there are alternatives. Again, there's alternative to all of these. ClickUp is the biggest competition that they have. So if you are going to look at Notion, potentially look at ClickUp to see if it works for you. Another tool, Loom. Loom is a video recording tool. It allows you to record your screen and just capture everything that you're doing. And what I find amazing about Loom is that, like right now I'm talking, I just said words. Loom captured it, but Loom in the background has AI that it gives you all the script, and it turns that into a bullet way where it becomes like a procedure, right? So just natural conversation that you're just doing with your team, or you're having a meeting, it turns that into a procedure. So it just allows you to capture things super fast. They have an app that you can use on your phone. If you're creating, look, I always tell people, your business have all the systems and processes already, you're just not capturing them, right? So if you're leveraging tools that allows you to capture it, your business, you could literally build a business that is organized, clean, and everything is there already.
I mean, just to expand on that idea, creating specific roles for your employees, instead of having them be like your second brain and they're trying to be like a mini you, itemizing them down into a very specific task and training them.
I'd help them.
I know. Well, I see that as a big struggle, like, employee 1, employee 2, employee 3, in these sorts of situations, it's like, I'm frazzled, I need you to help me do what I would do. And it doesn't work that way. Instead, it should be, I am the screen tech, I exclusively do screens, and if the screens are done, I'm going to go home. Or I am the customer service person exclusively doing customer service, and if there is nobody actually sending in leads, my job is to do like cold outbound email. But those like specific tasks inside of your business can be described and created like with employee handbooks very easily, just by you talking in something like Loom and giving them not only the text version but the video versions of you doing a great job. So you can just turn on something like Loom, have a phone call with a customer, save that recording, save that transcription, and say, here's all the things I did right. You need to match my tone, you need to match my style, and that is your job all day for 8 hours a day. And it allows your employees to really know what they should be doing, as opposed to just feeling like, there's chaos in the shop.
It's a powerful tool that, again, like for me, for example, this is the flex for me. I'll say, hey, I'm running the business, but my team is actually running the business, because I've documented everything and they now have it. So now they could make decisions for me or for my business without me having to be there. For me, that's my way of running a business, not me being there all the time, being like doing the art. I've already given you the system, I've given you instruction, everything's documented, you go and execute.
Is there alternatives to that one?
Yeah, there's a bunch of screen recording tools, right?
I think even Adobe Suite has something that records, like if you're trying to teach someone color separations or that kind of thing, it will record what you do, right?
if you have a Mac, the Mac has QuickTime that's already built in that you can use as a screen recorder. Vimeo Alpha is a free version. Vimeo, it gives you a screen recording. You just have to download the thing from the Google Store, the Google template, Google Web Store, and they could do screen recording. But there's a bunch of those things. Just do a Google search for screen recording, video screen recording. You're gonna see all of those. Let me drop this other tool in your mind. He talked about Zapier. I think we should really go into that and just what is the power of Zapier, how you can like leverage that.
Yeah, absolutely. So has anyone heard of Zapier? All right, one person. So we'll start at the ground level. Zapier is a tool so that tools can talk to each other. Pretty much all major software companies are going to have an open API that is available for anyone who's paying for the service to use. So for example, Gmail has an API, or Outlook has an API, Printavo has an API. This allows you to have the API.
I want to explain what an API is. Let's get basic here.
An API is, on the most basic level, think of the API as here's the person's full name, and it's available for one code to read to the other code. So for example, somebody sends an email to you and says, my first name is Chris, and you could have the code say, okay, their name is Chris, I want you to put their name Chris in a Printavo order form. And so Zapier is that bridge in the middle that is allowing one software to talk to the other, even though those two pieces of software have never actually worked together to create it. But the API system that everyone is underlying with their software can be basically translated with Zapier. So Zapier, in very simple ways, can allow you to just click every time I get a Gmail that says order request, I want to be notified on my phone. Or every time Gmail gets information about the sizes, I want the sizes to automatically be copy-pasted into Printavo. And you can do these tiny little things that are called zaps, that's what Zapier calls them, to make things automated that right now you're sitting there and you're copy-pasting or you're retyping or you're getting around to it 3 hours later, and they can be completely automated. You'll still step in to finish things like an order request, but you're going to save 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes on every single order request because it's waiting for you as opposed to you doing an individual one-by-one copy-paste job.
A powerful way that I like, so if you have a lot of things going on, you as the owner won't be able to like put your finger on everything. I use Zapier to just show me the stuff that I care about as an owner, right? For example, we have a lot of orders that comes in. I want to know every time an order gets a rating that's below what we like, right? So Zapier's always looking for that in our project management tool. So if Zapier sees, oh, there's a rating that's 3 out of 5, it's sending that to me. So then I could have a conversation. I could go into that order and have a conversation with my team. If it wasn't done that way, I would have to go through hundreds of orders that we do just to find that. So that's how I leverage it, where it's always looking and say my project management software is here, so it's always looking. If it finds it, it sends me a notification through Slack, or it could send me a notification through my cell phone if I set it up that way. So that's how you could use that, is just bridging that, so you're not always have to, because as an owner you won't be able to catch everything, but just know the critical thing that could like make your critical thing that could sink your business or take your business to the next level.
Kind of an interesting thing must happen, which is it makes it more relevant to collect a lot of that data because you can use it so well. You know, it's hard to get people to have buy-in and collect data that does not get used.
Yeah.
That sounds like you really use it, and so I'm sure you get better buy-in on your data collection as well.
Yeah, one of the first things I did with the Zapier, like the first connections I ever did was when someone paid, it immediately went into the channel so that the fulfillment people, the people who do our purchasing, could purchase the blanks and not miss cutoff. Because we had a situation where we would like open the order management software over and over, seeing if they had paid yet. Or we'd like open our bank account and see if it had hit yet. because we have to do 500 units. It's due in 2 days, but we don't want to buy blanks if they haven't paid us. So just that was such a simple thing to do, but that obsessive thing where you're like checking every 5 minutes is gone. There's no reason to check. You will just get a notification because the software is checking for you every 10 seconds, and it'll let you know. And then your purchasing person with 10 minutes to spare can buy the blanks and not miss the cutoff because they didn't check at the right moment.
So I think the message that we want to get across here, we all are in the t-shirt space or in the promo or garment decoration space. Yes, that's the end product, but in reality, you are in a relationship business, information business. You are running a technology business. That's really what you're doing. So it's learning how to leverage what's already out there to make those connections happen. That's where those tools, they become powerful. And again, it's not being afraid of those tools, having a framework to use the tools, but like, don't be afraid. If it's not perfect, that's probably an alternative, right? We'll share some here with you guys that you guys can take back home and play around with. There's hundreds of tools out there. I probably use what we said today potentially to start your journey, but there's not going to be a perfect tool. I would literally, even though I like playing around with tools, I do a lot of things just on paper, or I'll just like use a diagram to just map out what's in my brain, because it's really first about like mapping out what you want to accomplish and seeing if the tool could apply to it.
What kind of pen you use?
I actually have it. I use a pen.
I use like a razor point. It definitely somehow better for my brain. Yeah, it's a tool.
It's a tool.
All right. Anything else, or should we do questions?
We'll take questions.
All right. Questions. Get some experts here. Good chance to learn something. It's a little mind-boggling, actually. That was a really good talk. There's a lot there. It's probably take a little bit to digest it.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Questions? No questions too dumb.
Yeah, make a comment.
I really appreciate the use of tech, number one, but then also like kind of simplifying the tech. Not because, yes, it gets overwhelming, but also as small businesses, we have to decide what we're putting our money into, subscriptions or one-based software, and it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, where's it going to end? Back in the old days where you could get a disc and, own the software. Right now it's like monthly fees and stuff, and it all adds up. So just what was the first one that you're like, okay, we really need to invest in this one?
So Shirt Agency, we survived on free Google tools for the first 2.5 years. And it was a nightmare, but it was Google Sheets, Google Drive, Google everything. And then the first thing that we finally actually decided to pay real money for was Printavo, which was cheaper back then. But just an order management software in general instead of...
You will not see Printavo sponsor next show.
I still use them. It's just pricey.
Yeah.
But yeah, like an order management software, I think in most scenarios is the best thing. Also, if you're more on the DTF or DTG side, maybe the best thing for you is like a web to print system. So something where your customer's on a nice website, they upload their artwork and it automatically goes straight into your machine or straight into an order queue. It may not be something like a Printavo in that situation. It might be more of a web to print solution. And I know people like OmniPrint and stuff, they have like a workflow software that's like $100. And it's that web to print solution so that your website looks nice and you're not doing anything to manage the art. It's just going into a queue.
I see someone that works for me making a mental note there, so thanks. Other questions or comments?
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for your time today. I just wanted to know, what makes the way in which you use all the technology platforms that you mentioned peculiar? Because we're mentioning, the same platforms, and everyone might choose to partake in each of the same platforms. But I would like to know what makes the way in which you all use those technology platforms peculiar, and then how have you seen profitability in the way that you use those platforms in particular? Thank you.
So for me, I always, because coming into business, I always thought like the course of knowledge was going to be a problem for me, because I have a background in tech, and I know most of the folks that I work with was going to not be at the same level that I was, right? So I know it's actually going to be a struggle, but I was going to be too tech heavy for my team. So it was the way that I use tech is, one, like, try to simplify things as much as possible. So it's more of a mindset thing, and for me, being like aware of where I am as an owner. How do you make your business profitable? Like right now, for example, all of us could do a T-shirt. All of us could do press a DTF on a thing, right? That's not very. You can't be. You can't. There's no competitive advantage in that. But if you leverage technology in a clean way, you have a super clean workflow, right? That makes you competitive. That gives you value in your business. So that's what I always look at, is like, so for example, if I was not able to work and somebody else had to step in and run my business, could they see what I've just take over? So I'm always using technology, like the information that's in my brain, get it as clean as possible, communicate with my team in the cleanest way, give my team less tech to use, just the essential tech, right? And the combination of all those techs together is your platform. That's how you think your business, if you're using Google, if you're using Slack, if you're using whatever, those combination, and the customized way that you use it is your power, is your superpower, is your value. Because like, I could use it one way and I figured out like a shortcut, and that shortcut saves me, say 10 minutes. That 10 minutes is value, right? It's value. We're not thinking of it like that, but it's value that, like for example, right now we're literally in the process of potentially creating a software that could take art, clean it, analyze it, give us the complexity level and stuff like that. If we able to pull that off, that's crazy value that every time you handle a piece of art right now, it's taking you 30 minutes. That a software could do in, what? Seconds, right? That's why technology companies are so valuable, because they could do the same thing over and over, and it's super accurate.
You know, one thing I'll say about both of you, though, is that you do not let technology rule your company. Like, you use it as a tool. Yeah. You said tool, that's like in spades, that you actually are a real person, and you don't let it replace it. Anyone dealing with your company doesn't feel like they're only dealing with technology. And so I think that's kind of admirable, and a kind of a nice way that you have of using technology. It's to almost to free you up to be more of a real person, not to replace you.
Yeah, it's definitely maximizing productivity, while also like eliminating some of the headaches or even just the boring stuff. As things get more and more advanced with the AI space, it's not so much that you're going to be cutting people, it's that their productivity will skyrocket. Because they're going to have like this backup technology that is magnifying their existing skills.
I'll just take a wild guess that instead of your people looking to see if somebody paid so they can proceed with an order, they feel a little more relaxed to talk to the customer if they have to talk to them, right? So like, because you're freeing them up from the kind of onerous tasks, if you will, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, constantly checking on things as opposed to just having the information obvious in a dashboard is just a huge time savings. And if I save multiple employees 10 minutes every 2-3 hours over the course of a month, just that makes them more productive. Not to mention, I know I make myself more productive by not having to scroll through old emails because I don't remember what they said or whatever. All of that can just be summarized for you.
I bet there's less aggravation as well. Other questions? All right, how about a hand for Gavin and Cole here? Thanks. Thanks to our sponsors, Emerald, Hirsch, Stalls, and Los Angeles Apparel. Check out the In Kitchen YouTube channel where this will appear eventually. And thanks a lot, guys. Thank you for coming.